Hi, my name is Simon Loong. I'm the founder and CEO of WeLab. It's my honor and pleasure to be here with all of you today. Thank you. So I'm here to talk about our company WeLab. But before this, I want to, as an entrepreneur, I want to share with you why we're doing this as much as what we're doing, right? Financial services accounts for 17% of Hong Kong's GDP. It's one of the biggest contributor to Hong Kong's productivity. Before I founded this 6 years ago, I've been a banker myself for 15 years, working in some of the largest international banks. But one of the things that I was always wondering is, what is the future of banking? Just like most bankers was, because it's getting more boring, it's getting more mundane, it's not as exciting as before. But at the same time, what we've seen is financial services is greatly being innovated, disrupted by technology, just like what we've seen in other parts of other industries as well, from e-commerce, news, music, streaming, and everything. So how can we actually make financial services more interesting, but at the same time keeping the most important part of financial services, which is the risk management, the stability? How do you combine the best of the old and new? That is the key question. That is actually the most difficult part of financial services. Hence, we founded WeLab 6 years ago with that concept. So what we first started looking at is, one of the things that we started looking at is, how do you use big data analytics to do better lending? Now, lending is a genuine underserved need in most markets in the world because of access to data, access to capital, and everything. Now, in the past, when we know like Fintech lending, everyone feel that, oh, P2P lending and stuff like that, right? So we don't do P2P lending. What we do is big data analytics on lending. But I think the most interesting thing is, when the first generation of online digital fintech lending already started, everyone was doing P2P lending, which is mostly a business model innovation. But what we wanted to do is, how do we change that from a simple business model innovation, but combine this with the know-how from us in banking into a technological innovation, once again leveraging on the strength of Hong Kong as an international financial hub. And we built it into a technological innovation. That's how we started the company. So the mission of the business is actually not to build the largest online lending platform, but to build technology to enable financial services to be delivered safely, efficiently, completely online. So that is the objective. We first started off in Hong Kong in 2013. January is, in fact, the company is coming up to the 6 years anniversary. In the Hong Kong market as a test bed. We started this because Hong Kong is a very easy to test market. If you think about it, a market where it's a very concentrated, homogeneous population, it's very easy to test something, whether it's going to scale. And we tested it, it was highly effective. We were probably one of the first fully online lender in Hong Kong. And in 2014, we started looking at what is the next biggest market that we can scale this. So we looked around. The answer obviously is China. China has 1.3 billion population. We started going in. We're one of the first lender to go in with a fully mobile lending platform, once again using a big data technology to do so. Right now, we're probably the largest online lender in Hong Kong and probably the second largest biggest in China today, fully on mobile phones. And as we scale, we learn so much from operating in a market like China, transferring the technology. But once again, when we entered in China, we also learned something new. When you have to build a strong fintech company, you need to combine the best of financial services and technology, both. If you have too much financial services talents, you have too many bankers starting this, at the end of the day, what would you end up with? You will end up with building another bank without a balance sheet and a brand. But if you have too many tech talents and no banking expertise, what will you end up building? You end up building an e-commerce platform. So you need both. So the benefit, once again, from Hong Kong is we were actually able to combine the talents from Hong Kong and tech development talent in Shenzhen, our second office. Right now, the company has in total 600 employees. 80 of them sit in Hong Kong, and 600 of them sit in Shenzhen. So the close proximity between Hong Kong and Shenzhen allow us to be able to build so very, very efficiently, take advantage of the best of the talents from both sides. And then in 2000 and actually earlier this year, we looked at how do we scale to the third market. So we started looking at, where can I find a population that is young, fast-growing, very, very energetic, and genuine underserved needs in banking. And we started going into the next market, which is Indonesia. Indonesia has 260 million population. The median age for Indonesia is only 30 years old. And Indonesian love their mobile phone. The mobile phone penetration is 1.4 times of the population. So we started going into this. So we formed a joint venture with Astra International. And we started going into that. And we covered a lot of these, so don't worry about this. So I can quickly go through it. So we have around 8.8 market share in China, monthly active users in China, 30 million users. And B2B is a big part of it. I think we cover a little bit about the market. This is interesting. So we also are one of the companies to put Hong Kong in the global fintech scene. If you look at Asian Banker is a conglomerate, or is an industry group of all the banks, traditional banks in Asia, with all the banks, DBS, HSBC as members of it, right? Asian Banker actually gave the best business model award to WeLab. The best business model award for 2018 didn't go to a bank. In Asian Bank, it actually went to a tech company, WeLab, because they recognize the ability to use technology to change financial services is the strength of it. Also, we are named by a annual KPMG. KPMG has an annual rating, and we're named number 7th in China and number 23 internationally. We're also named by Deloitte as the fastest growing tech company in Hong Kong as well. I think before we go into, I think the last thing we want to go into is how do we change? What's the next generation of financial services? If we think about it, fintech companies started off building their own brands, right? Fintech company like we use WeLab, the brand in Hong Kong, WeLab in China. We start our own brand and work and acquire customers. But the next generation of financial services or fintech is how do we actually provide such technology and work with banks? So we started doing what we call B2B services 3 years ago, where we started licensing such technology and make banks more efficient. For example, the Postal Savings Bank of China, one of the largest banks in China, with 500 million customers, use our technology today. So that is the next generation of it. But what is the future of this? I think the future of this is financial services and fintech should actually even enable conglomerates for themselves to offer better financial services. For example, we just had a global cooperation with CK Hutchison. Started off in Hong Kong, where we offer them from handset financing to white goods financing, a fintech solution on their shops itself, right? So financial services, you should no longer access financial services when you go to a bank. I think it should be financial services when you're everywhere as part of your everyday life. Similarly, with what we do at Astra. Astra is one of the largest car auto seller, a conglomerate in Indonesia. So we started looking into auto financing, auto parts financing, auto insurance financing. So fintech become an everyday part of your life. And recently, as our customers grow, as we continue to expand our business, we also look at taking advantage of Hong Kong's recent announcement of rolling out virtual banking license. How do we offer more than just lending solutions, but banking solutions? I think the meaning, I think it's a very meaningful part of this is where once the Hong Kong MA announced that they're going to give out virtual banking license, it has attracted a lot of talents and companies in fintech to Hong Kong to take advantage of it, to become part of it. And we are looking at how do we become part of this movement as well. So this is it's just a short presentation of introducing the company. Thank you very much.